Picture this. You're walking along, and suddenly your compass just completely loses its mind, spinning wildly without any direction. Or imagine a quiet, eerie lake that actually turns animals into stone. What about a lush island, absolutely thriving with life, where no outsider is allowed to set foot, ever? Well, in today's Explainer, we're counting down the top 10 mysterious places on Earth. We're talking about locations with qualities that even the world's top scientists literally cannot fully explain.
So, where does a river simply disappear? I mean, it sounds like the setup to a magic trick, right? But nature has this incredible way of throwing us real-world curveballs that just completely defy our basic understanding of how things are supposed to work. Throughout this explainer, we're going to look at these incredible geographical puzzles. Some of them force researchers to completely rewrite their textbooks, while others, they just remain absolute enigmas. We've got 10 mysteries broken down into 3 distinct categories, all within our one incredibly unexplainable world. Grouping them like this really helps us see the larger patterns. Oh, and you'll definitely want to stick around for the number 1 spot, because it remains completely off limits to modern science. Let's dive in.
Chapter 1, Bizarre Elements and Illusions, where chemistry just behaves strangely. We're going to look at locations where the fundamental forces of water and fire completely defy our everyday expectations. Coming in at number 10 is Blood Falls in Antarctica. Okay, picture a frozen, pristine white continent, right? And pouring directly out of a glacier is a waterfall that looks exactly like boiling blood. Honestly, for the longest time, it was a pretty terrifying and inexplicable sight. But the truth is actually a fascinating testament to endurance. That deep red color, it comes from extremely iron-rich water that's been trapped under the ice for millions of years. It completely redefines our understanding of biology, proving that nature can preserve ancient, isolated ecosystems in some of the most extreme, lightless conditions on the entire planet.
Moving right along to mystery number 9, the Devil's Kettle in the U.S. Here's another wild example of water behaving strangely. On one side, you have a completely normal river tumbling over the rocks. But on the other side, the rushing water simply pours into a massive void and literally vanishes into the abyss. For years, nobody had a single clue where all that water went. Today, geologists are pretty sure it eventually rejoins the main river somewhere underground. But what makes this truly mind-boggling is that even with all our modern mapping and sensor technology, tracing the exact underground path of that water is still incredibly difficult. The Earth hides its plumbing exceptionally well.
At number 8, we're staying in the U.S. with Eternal Flame Falls. Imagine a natural flame burning directly behind a waterfall. Water and fire just coexisting right on top of each other, like something straight out of a fantasy novel. But actually, this is a real geological phenomenon where natural gas actively seeps through the rock formations right behind the falling water. And this continuous supply of fuel allows the flame to burn almost year-round. It's just a great reminder that the Earth's underground layers are way more active and volatile than the solid, quiet ground we walk on every day.
Number 7 is the door to hell in Turkmenistan. Over 50 years. Let that sink in. That is how long this massive gas crater has been continuously roaring with fire. Back in 1971, engineers found this gas pocket and made the call to light it on fire just to burn off the dangerous fumes. They genuinely thought it would burn out in a matter of days. Well, the Earth definitely had other plans. Half a century later, it is still burning nonstop. It perfectly shows just how unpredictable our planet's deep resources really are, totally dwarfing human calculations.
Chapter 2, Deadly Deserts and Oceans. Environments of extreme scale. We're moving from those isolated elemental quirks to vast, dangerous landscapes that just continue to baffle researchers.
Number 6 takes us out into the sweltering heat of Death Valley for the legendary sailing stones. For decades, people would find these huge rocks weighing hundreds of kilograms just sitting at the end of long drag trails in the dirt. And honestly looks like they moved completely by themselves. But the secret is actually a highly precise, 3-step scientific mechanism. First, a rare, super thin layer of ice forms on the desert floor during unusually cold, wet nights. Second, the wind picks up, blowing just hard enough to push these massive rocks across that slick, icy surface. And third, the ice melts away in the morning sun, leaving those mysterious trails behind in the mud. It takes a perfect, fragile sequence of events to solve this desert ghost story.
Coming in at number 5 is Lake Natron in Tanzania. Remember earlier when I mentioned a lake that turns animals to stone? Yep, this is the one. This body of water is exceptionally alkaline, so when animals die in or near this lake, the harsh chemical makeup of the water actually acts as a natural preservative. Instead of decomposing normally, their bodies calcify, turning into eerie, rigid statues that eventually wash up on the shore. It is beautiful, for sure, but also deeply haunting. It completely flips our intuitive understanding of water as a life-giving force into an agent of permanent petrifying stasis. For number 4, we're heading into the ocean to talk about the infamous Bermuda Triangle. For decades, we've all been captivated by those legendary stories of massive ships and passenger planes just vanishing without a trace. And look, while the myths of alien abductions and sea monsters are definitely exciting, modern researchers point to much more grounded realities. They highlight things like unpredictable severe weather, critical human navigation errors, and treacherous fast-moving ocean currents as the true culprits. But even with those rational explanations, the sheer volume of incidents really forces us to respect how easily human technology can just be swallowed whole by the scale of the open ocean. Chapter 3: Isolated and Ancient Mysteries. This is where science truly hits a wall, dealing with ancient history, unique biology, and total, complete isolation. At number 3, we travel to Socotra Island in Yemen. If you look at photos of this place, it legitimately looks like an alien world, and the biological data totally backs that up. A full 33%, literally 1/3 of all the plant life on this island, exists absolutely nowhere else on Earth. That unique third includes bizarre flora like the famous dragon blood tree with its dense umbrella-like canopy and dark red sap. It's just a profound example of how intense, uninterrupted isolation allows nature to take entirely unique evolutionary paths, totally uninfluenced by the rest of the planet. Number 2 brings us to the Nazca Lines in Peru. And this is a mystery of mind-boggling scale. Covering the arid desert floor are thousands of giant drawings of animals, plants, and complex geometric shapes. But here's the grand paradox. These shapes are so massive that you actually can't tell what they are from the ground. You can only fully see and understand them from the sky, and they were created thousands of years before human flight was ever invented. How on earth did the ancient Nazca people achieve such perfect proportions without an aerial view? And maybe more importantly, why create a masterpiece you can never truly see yourself? Their exact purpose is still heavily debated by archaeologists today. And now, we've arrived at our number 1 mystery, the most untouchable place on Earth, North Sentinel Island in India. This island is home to one of the very last completely isolated tribes remaining anywhere on our planet. Their absolute rule: reject all outside contact, no exceptions. They have fiercely and consistently repelled any and all attempts by the outside world to approach their shores or even communicate with them. Because of the tribe's very clear desire for isolation and to protect them from modern diseases that they have zero immunity to, the Indian government has strictly banned any visitors from approaching the island. It is entirely illegal to go there. Because of this massive protective barrier, almost nothing is known about them. Their language, their culture, their daily routines, it all remains a complete void to anthropologists. In an age of satellites, smartphones, and constant global connectivity, the fact that an entire human society exists completely off the grid, that makes it the world's most compelling real-life mystery. So from bleeding glaciers in Antarctica to giant, unexplainable drawings in Peru, and finally to an island entirely frozen in time, these locations remind us of a deeply humbling truth. No matter how advanced our technology becomes, how detailed our maps get, or how connected our societies are, the Earth still holds secrets we simply cannot crack. Which of these mysteries makes you question what else is hiding in plain sight on our own planet? Let me know your thoughts.